Hello, and welcome back to ClearPATH. This is Wes Shope, Actuarial Analyst with Contribution Health. I hope you've enjoyed our videos so far. Today we're going to take a deeper dive at what it looks like to create a plan and enter it into ClearPATH. To do so, once you log in, ensure you are on Step 1, Set Plan Design. You'll see that I already have several plans created in this login. I would like to create one from scratch. To do so, I will hit Add. I have the chance to name it now. Let's call this one Example Plan. After naming it, I should hit the Save icon. And you'll see that the actuarial value has not yet been calculated for this plan. That's appropriate. To do so, we will enter into the Plan Design input page by clicking on the Edit button. And we have entered the Plan Design input page now. In here, all the essential elements of a plan are laid out in the exact order of a government-mandated SBC, or Summary of Benefits and Coverages. I have an example SBC. We're going to enter this plan from there. For example, in this plan, I have a $2,000 deductible per person, or a $4,500 deductible for family. I can enter that into ClearPATH, just as it says, individual and family deductible. Make sure that when the screen becomes gray and the loading icon appears, that you give ClearPATH the time to load its changes. Otherwise, you might find yourself having to re-enter some of the elements which you did. The coinsurance for this plan happens to be 70%. That is, the plan will pay 70%, and the employee will pay 30% of medical costs after the deductible is met. The out-of-pocket for our plan is $3,500 per person, $7,000 per family. I can also enter those. And you'll notice that I actually do not have the option to choose exactly $7,000 for the family out-of-pocket. I'm going to select $6,350 and come back to this later. Further options I may see on the first page of the deductible is whether the deductible applies to prescription drugs or not. This one does not. Therefore, I will keep this box checked because it does apply to medical costs only. I could uncheck it if it applied to prescription drugs as well. Furthermore, if it was an aggregate deductible and not a traditional embedded deductible, I would also uncheck this box. Does the out-of-pocket include copays? Most plans these days, unless they are grandfathered plans, the copays must be included in the out-of-pocket. We see here that copays are not listed as not included in the out-of-pocket. Therefore, we will check the box that they are. Furthermore, we can see if there are any specific deductibles for this plan. In this case, yes, we have a $150 deductible for prescription drugs. That is separate from the $2,000 deductible for all medical services. I can enter this right here. And we will move on. Looking into the further pages of the SBC, a visit to a primary care physician is a $25 copayment. No deductible, no coinsurance. So I will uncheck these boxes because it is not subject to deductible nor subject to coinsurance. And I will enter 25 in this box. Next, we have a specialist visit. That's a $50 copayment per visit. Again, no deductible or coinsurance. So I will uncheck these and enter 50. For other physician visit copays, we'll see that for other practitioner office visit, this is not covered under this plan. In this case, we will uncheck this box. This now deactivates all of these fields because the item is not covered. This will be reflected in the actuarial value at the end. I can continue on. Preventative care, there is absolutely no charge. This is also required of all modern plans, except for some grandfathered plans. In ClearPATH, I already have that there is no charge, no deductible, no coinsurance, and no copays. Mammograms are a subset of preventative care and should be treated exactly as the row above it. When we come to diagnostic tests, we see that there is 30% coinsurance after deductible. I had already specified that the coinsurance was, again, 70% for the plan and 30% for the employee. So I will keep this box checked because it is subject to deductible, and this box also checked as it is subject to coinsurance. For imaging, I see the same thing. Moving on to prescription drugs, move on to the next page. I have a little note here, $10 copayment for retail on selected generic drugs, $20 copayment for mail order, and these are for generic drugs. I have a retail copayment of $10 and a mail order copayment of $20. You'll see that when I enter copayments, the options for coinsurance, both for prescription drugs and for regular medical services, are disabled. ClearPATH understands that you will generally either have a copayment or a coinsurance on a certain service. If you come across a plan in which you have both, you may use your best judgment of which would provide more value, and you may also contact our home office in which we can provide customizable plans. I'll move on to the brand. For selected brand drugs, we have a $30 copayment for retail and a $60 for mail order. I will enter these as before. For non-formulary, or non-selected as this document names it, brand drugs, we have $50 copayment for retail, $100 copayment for mail order. And you'll see that it also has the option of a 20% coinsurance. This is also true of all other drugs or specialty drugs. The prescription or 20% of coinsurance. In this case, I'm going to enter this for the specialty drugs, or the fourth tier. This is subject to coinsurance. It is an 80% coinsurance. And some plans will have a maximum copayment. In other words, it might say 20% coinsurance up to a maximum of $300. We do not have this in this case, so we will leave the max copay simply at a 0. I could continue on down the list with outpatient surgery facility, physician surgery fee, emergency room, emergency medical transportation. However, for the sake of this example, I will leave it as is. In discussing the HRA, we do not have an HRA for this plan. However, ClearPATH is able to enter a simple deductible HRA or HSA. For example, if I had an HRA in which the employee paid the first $1,000 of the deductible, but the HRA paid the second $1,000 of the deductible, I would enter it as such. It starts at $1,000, ends at $2,000, and I could choose whether it paid 100% of those costs, whether it paid 50% of those costs, or any value in between. We'll then save those HRA options. And here we go. You'll see that the actuarial value is still not calculated. In order to calculate the actuarial value, I need to hit on the Calculate AV button. We'll see that the actuarial value for this plan is 76.5%. That is, we would expect this plan to pay for 76.5% of all medical costs. The HRA is worth another 4.1% on top of that. So the two put together, we should have a plan that pays for 80.6% of all medical costs. I can look into further detail by clicking the View AV button. In which I see the value of full coverage, the total value of covered expense. If you'll remember, other practitioners, which usually refers to chiropractic, were not covered. Therefore, there is a difference between covered expenses and the value of full coverage. Per 1,000 people, we would expect deductibles, this much to be spent in deductibles, this much to be spent in coinsurance, and this much for copayments. These are the absolute values per 1,000 members measured against national averages. These are the percentages, all culminating into the net cost of the plan being 76.5%, where we get our actuarial value from. I could look further detail into item by item as this. You will see that again for primary care visits, there are no costs for deductibles or coinsurance, but there are costs for copays. We'll see that we have absolutely no costs for other physician visits. And you could continue down the list, evaluating each item as needed. To go back to the plan design input page, I can click on the back arrow. And we have successfully created a plan. I will now hit the Save button. And the plan is saved. The last thing I wanted to come back to was that I had chosen a family out-of-pocket limit of $6,350, when in fact, the family out-of-pocket limit was $7,000. ClearPATH is not able to encompass every single dollar amount into these drop-down boxes, but we have selected several options in which should provide an accurate bound. For example, we found that with a $6,350 family out-of-pocket limit, our actuarial value was 76.5%. I will now do what is called bounding the error and select the next one highest. After doing such, I will calculate the actuarial value again. And we see that there is still a 76.5% actuarial value. In other words, the difference is negligible, and you will have an accurate result even without having the exact dollar amount in this. You should find that for most items, whether it be on the top or for each individual item, you should be able to create a relatively small bound in which you will have a very close estimate to the plan's actual actuarial value. Again, if you have customizable needs, you can contact the Home Office and we can do so for you. This plan was created from scratch. However, if I wanted to create another plan that was similar to one I already have, I will do the following. Again, I will click on the Add button. And again, enter the name of a plan. Let's call this Example Plan 2. I will save that. And I will come into the Edit plan. You will see that, again, we have a blank plan to be filled out. If I want to start from another plan, however, I may clone a plan. Let's select the plan I just built. Example plan. When I hit go, example plan, the one we just created, will remain as is, whereas the plan I am creating now, example plan 2, should match just like it once ClearPATH has the chance to clone the plan. And here we are. Again, we have the $2,450 deductible applying to only medical. The HRA value is already calculated, however the actuarial value is not yet. Let's change this plan just a little bit. Let's make this a richer plan with a $1,000 individual deductible. And let's say a $2,500 out-of-pocket limit. I'm going to not include the HRA in this plan. All these options are now disabled, but I will calculate the actuarial value. The changes we've made to this plan, the lower deductible and out-of-pocket limit, seem to have changed this plan from a 76.5% plan to an 81.3% plan. I hope this video has been beneficial for you. Please contact our home office or consult the training manual or FAQ with any further questions. And thank you.